This review is for a mature rated game. Viewer discretion is advised. Playing Werewolf the Apocalypse Heart of the Forest has resulted in a few firsts for me. It's the first time I've played a visual novel, and it is also my first time indulging in Werewolf the Apocalypse, a role-playing series that is part of the World of Darkness universes. For those of you not really in the know, the Werewolf the Apocalypse role-playing games primarily feature Garou, or werewolves, that are in charge of defending Gaia, best described as Mother Nature, while fighting corrupt humans and supernatural creatures. There are less video games about Werewolf the Apocalypse, in contrast to the other World of Darkness lineup, Vampire the Masquerade. This recently released game, developed by Different Tales and published by Walkabout Games, is only one of them. The game being a visual novel involves reading a considerable amount of text backed up by soundscapes and pictures. The protagonist is Maya, a 24-year-old American student who travels to a primeval forest in Poland to learn of her roots. It is fairly obvious from the get-go that she is a werewolf. No spoiler-like surprises there. But what happens to her and how she acts in the story of timely ecological protection is up to you, whether she be more peaceful or violent. You will meet several individuals, and how friendly or otherwise they will appear to you is down to your actions and personality. The story is mostly well written and paced, with a simply very good prose, and generally relatable and likeable characters. The story is backed up by a great presentation. It features an art style that is mostly hand-drawn, even paint-like, with filtered photographs, heavy use of the colour red, and above all, surreal and occasionally horrifying imagery. Much like the animation, the music featured is also surprisingly minimalistic, with the ambient and atmospheric soundscapes, such as the birds of the forest, taking centre stage. The presentation, combined with a heavy use of player choice, makes this visual novel suitably more interesting than what is quite possibly the average choose-your-own-adventure book. As adapted from the general premise of Werewolf the Apocalypse, the game allows you to choose from varying statistics as you go, where your solutions to problems may be either laid back or full of anger. The most important stats from the get-go are rage, willpower, and health. The higher your rage stat is, the more direct and violent you are at the potential cost of empathy. The higher your willpower is, the more likely you are to select more difficult tasks or outcomes. Losing health can also make it hard to accomplish tasks. Other stats, such as spirituality or bravery, will also largely determine what passages of text you will read or get to select. There are times when you only get to choose the one option that could also affect your stats in a way you don't want, which is a little annoying, though it is probably borrowed from the tabletop game. It only takes a few hours to finish the story, with some of the cool ideas, such as learning about your werewolf stats and customizing them, appearing too little, too late. But there are several paths, moments, and endings you won't get to see on your first time, which does make it good to go back and try things differently. Again, the good writing makes it worth it. It is somewhat hard to tell if fans or veterans of Werewolf the Apocalypse will have much to sink their teeth into, though the story and so on will surely appeal. For newcomers, the explanations for much of the lore and mythology, such as the deities known as the Weaver, Wild, and Worm, are intriguing, and anyone at least vaguely familiar with tabletop gameplay will enjoy choosing the stats and how the story goes. Werewolf the Apocalypse Heart of the Forest is an overall interesting visual novel with a great presentation and a nice degree of replay value that will keep you busy for more than a few hours. If the upcoming release of Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood in February next year is any indication, this is not the last we have seen of a Garou in the gaming world.